Right, let's have a look at the frames. Now I'm going to start off by sharing with you how to make one of those card blanks so you can have a frame round it. Okay, this is very easily done. You're going to take one of your 15 centimetre by 30 centimetre card blanks, and I think to start with we will not cut this, we're going to score it. So this time I'm going to score on the short side. My angle there, well, that looks better. So we're going to score on the short side, and you're going to score this at 1/2 centimetre. One and a half centimetres, 4 centimetres, and 5 centimetres. And I should have taken a piece out. So this now needs to be cut at, let me get my trimmer, because this you can make, what I've just shared with you, you're going to make from 2 cards. So we've done one lot of scores because I've already prepared some, and you're going to pop this in your trimmer at 7.5 centimetres. Okay, because you'll use that and do the same again. And then if we just open this out, you're going to score this or cut this at 15 centimetres. It just meant I didn't have to cut it all down first. So you've got your 2 pieces, you've got 1/2 centimetre, 1.5, 4 and 5. You always, when you're doing these, you always turn clockwise. So you're going to turn it clockwise so your smaller pieces are at the top. Okay, and then this time you're going to do a score line that is 2.5 centimetres in at the to the second score line. So you're just going to go in there at the second score line. Okay, we'll do that again on this one. So 2.5 centimetres to that second score line. And then we're going to do a little cut. This is where I'll keep putting my scissors down and losing them. I'm just going to move my scoreboard for the moment while I do this. And you're going to cut where that score is. You're going to cut those 2, and then you're going to cut a diagonal across to the next score line. So it looks like that. Let me pop that back in there, and then you can see what we're trying to do. Okay, let me do that again. So you're going to cut that there and across. Now, obviously, you're going to do 4 of these. And then you know what I'm going to tell you to do. Do your burnishing. And then I'm going to take some 3mm red line tape, because we're going to put the red line tape on the little piece there. So find the end. And there we go. Trim that end piece off there. Give that red line tape a little burnish to sink in. And then we'll remove that. And if you fold over 2 of your scores, This one then measures exactly the same and meets back on itself. And that then gives you your little tube. Okay. I won't do that again because you can rewind and watch at any time. And then I've got some more here the same. So you're going to need 4 of these. And they join one inside the other quite easily to create your frames. Let's slot those in there so you can see how the frame will come together. So you'll take your half fold card from your 15 by 30, that's your score line in the middle at 15, and then you can stick that all together on the front of there. So let me just show you quickly how you'd stick that. So this time we'll go in with glue. So this is a frame with no tabs. Okay, this is called no tabs. So you're just going to put glue inside there. Slide that one in. Okay. And then you're going to put glue inside here. Slide that one in. And because your EVA glue dries quite quickly, you get a nice quick grab. But I am going to share with you another trick very shortly. So inside there as well, just wait a moment for that to take off. So you'll see on the back, you've got straight lines. You haven't got the mitered lines that you've got at the front. So the front, you've got these lovely miters. At the back, you've got it plain. So then you would put your glue on the back. Take more time than I'm doing. And then that can be stuck on the front of your card. Okay. Just give that a moment to take off. And then an example of what that would look like. This is a different size frame, but the sort of thing you could do on a card blank is you could then fill it with 3D flowers or anything you like. This is a different size, but just showing how you can create a lovely card blank. But I'm going to show you then how you can do this on any size, because look, we've got different sizes we can do. And I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. So keep watching, but that's all ready to have your lovely frame on your card. So that's the first one I want to share with you. Now, I did just talk to you about frames with tabs and frames without tabs. So let's just look at that. So scoreboards. So basically you have just seen a frame without tabs. So this is the same type of thing. So let me do this one again for you. Just checking which measurement I'm bringing in. So we will do 1 centimetre. So again, you've got your 15 by 30. I keep saying 40. 15 by 30. You're going to score at 1 centimetre all the way down. You're going to score at 3 centimetres all the way down, at 8 centimetres all the way down, and 10 centimetres all the way down. You're going to do your half turn clockwise. So you've got your first 2 score lines at the top. Okay. And then you're going to do a score. You're going to do a score at 3 centimetres, I think it is, from the top. No, that's not right. make sure 1 or 2 at the top. You're going to score at 5 centimetres. So 5 centimetres, but only to that second score line. So 5 centimetres down, but only to that second score line. And we're going to cut that off again and to that third score line. So let me move my board out of the way. So with my scissors, I'm going to cut to the second score line and then at a diagonal to the third score line. So it's going to look like that. So you're looking at that similar shape all the time. Do your fold, your scores, give those a nice burnish. So this is a frame with no tab. Okay, so a frame with no tab using 15 by 30 centimetre card blanks will give you, means you can stick this on the back of 12 by 12 cardstock or 30 centimetres by 30 centimetres cardstock. So this time I'm going to take out my, I think my 9mm will be okay. So this time I'm using my 9mm red line tape and I'm putting tape on this smaller score line, the 1 centimetre. Okay, trim that off. Give this a little burnish. Peel the back off. I like to fold over to the second one and then you fold this in on itself, because if you scored correctly, it all meets up absolutely perfectly. Just reinforce those lines and there you go, you've got your first part of your frame. So you're going to do exactly the same as we've done with that card. So let's make our frame. So this is a no tab frame. So you're going to put glue on this big piece that's here. Slide that in. Butt that up. Okay. And move round to the next one. Now, if you like an extra pair of hands while your glue dries, you can also use your repositionable tape. So if I bring my repositionable tape in here, Pink Frog stocked this as well. What you can do is you can just hold that in place and that will add as an extra pair of hands for you while you go round and stick your frame. Bring the last one in here ready. Let me pop my glue inside there. Slide that one into there. Slide that one into there. Butt them up nicely. Just pop a little bit of tape on if you wish, just while it's all drying off and getting square. But this is going to give you your no tab frame. Okay, if I work my way around this one, which was already dried, by having the repositionable, it doesn't mark your card at all. Okay, and it means you've got everything in place. So that is giving you a no tab frame. Okay, so this one would be 5 centimetres in width and 2 centimetres in depth. And then you would just stick that on the back of a blank piece of 12 by 12 cardstock. Okay, so that's the first one with no tabs. I can take these off now and move this to the one side. And now let me show you one we're going to make now with tabs. So this is where your measurement will be slightly different. 15 by 30 cards blank again. And you're going to do the same scores to start with. So we're going to do a score at 1 centimetre. and 3 centimetres, 8 centimetres and 10 centimetres. You're going to do a clockwise quarter turn. Now this time you're going to create a tab. So you're going to score at 1 centimetre all the way across. So 1 centimetre all the way across. And then, because we normally score at 5, we're going to now score at 6 to the second score line. So we did that 1 centimetre score all the way across, and then we've added that one down here to 6 to the second score line. So this time you're going to cut again that second score line to there, and you're going to do your diagonal up to there, and then we're going to create a little tab for you to join your frame together. So I'm just going to trim these pieces off the top here, and then I'll lay it out so you can see what I've done. So can you see we've cut away that piece and that piece, and that's what you need to do on 4 pieces of this. So let's burnish these along, and we will do our tab frame, because the tab frame comes together slightly differently, but you've got the options then to what you prefer to use. And that last one just there. Okay, and then you've got your little tab just there. Give that a burnish as well. So I'm going to do exactly the same, going in with my 9mm red line tape on the small piece that we've got here, the 1 centimetre part. So all the way along there, and then trim that off. And then we need to put a little piece of red line tape just on this little tab. Sorry, you can't. Let me cut this off and then I'll move my hand. So you got your red line tape on your little tab and your red line tape here on the side. We'll give that a burnish. So you're making the red line tape. Can you see how the colour changes when you push the red line tape? So you're pushing the fibres of the tape into the fibres of the paper. We'll take this big piece off first. Fold over 2 pieces again. Ring those together. So you always get, with the measurements, you always get it bang on. So just be mindful of your measurements. Okay. Right, let's move these 2 pieces out of the way. So I've got 3 other pieces here all joined together, or all ready to go, I should say, not joined together. So I've taken off my tape on the back of this one. So what you're going to do is you're going to make trains now. This is going to go inside here. Okay, so can you see that's going to go inside there? That's going to create your tab to help join it all together. So just lay it on the desk. Get it where you... In fact, I'm going to lay it down like that, I think. Just line it up so you're edge to edge. And then I like to just line it up down like that and give that a little burnish. Okay, so can you see when that folds in on itself, you're going to have that nice smooth edge. So let's do that on all of those. So let's take the next one off. So let's just take the backing off here. So this is your frame with tabs. Okay. So take your piece again, lining that up. It's a bit tight. I'm going to slip a little piece off there because that's just sticking over the top. There we go. So lay that on there. I'm going to lay it on my desk so I get it correct. This is where it gets a little bit more. Just take your time with it. Can you see how those two pieces are joined together? Let me give that a burnish and I can share with you. You see that's joined together. So you've got that nice hinge. Let's do the last one here. So I'm on the next one along. You can glue these instead of putting red line tape on, but personally I prefer the red line tape for this because I think you get an instant grab. So just lining that up. That's it. Give that a little burnish. And then that's that one. So now we get to the last one. So this is where we're now going to join the trains together. Okay, so we've folded that one through. We're going to fold this one through. And then you're going to fold the other one through. But before we stick the last piece, you're going to do what we did with the no tab one. You're going to put your glue there on that square panel. Fold that first one in on itself. Okay, just give that a little rub so that can take. Then you've got the next one. So glue again on that square bit. Fold that around. Okay. And then this is where I need lots of space and tape on this one. Now what I should have done is put some tape on there or some glue on there as well. But you can do that after with the red light, with the fine nozzle bottles. I must say it is easier. Now I've got to take my red line tape off this one. And I should have done that before I did the glue. But don't fear. There's always a way with crafting. So let me just, sorry I'm out of camera shots, taking that last little piece off. So I can bring this one round. It's always the last piece that you might find will be the most naughty, I should say. The most naughty. And there we go. Try and just get that into there. And then take your tab, just have that out. Take your little tab, tuck it in there. There we go. That's in. And if we look on the reverse, you've got your square pieces again. This is where we put the glue. So if you've got any sticking out, just go in with your fine nozzle, re-glue any of those pieces. Because when these frames are made, they are really sturdy because of the cardstock that we've used. So that is your frame with tabs. Now, if like me, you hadn't done the glue, you've got your fine nozzle. So go in and add a little bit of glue. There you go. Let's do one on that one. A little bit of glue. So your fine nozzle bottles come in very handy for lots of reasons when you're crafting. And that one's done. So that is your frame with tabs. Let me just wipe my glue bottle. So this one is going to give you the same as the last one. This is going to give you a frame that is 5 centimetres in width, but 2 centimetres in depth. Okay, so you've got the two different versions. So now let's look at doing some with different sizes, as in different widths. Okay, so let's pop that one to one side. Take another piece of our lovely cardstock. Now this time I'm going to cut this one down to 7.5 centimetres. So 7.5 centimetres. So basically you're going to get two sides of this size frame from one sheet of card. So this size frame, you're only needing 2 sheets of your 15 by 30 centimetre card. So we'll do it with the tabs again. So from now on, I'm going to show you all with tabs. So scoreboards, and you're going to score at 0.5 centimetre and 2 centimetres, 4 centimetres and 5.5 centimetres. Nearly got that one wrong, didn't I? 5.5 centimetres. You're going to do a quarter turn. So the first score you're going to do is 1 centimetre. So that will give us our tab. And now we need to then score at 3 centimetres to the second score line only. So you've got your 1 centimetre at the top and this second score line only. You're going to cut that first piece off, and then you're going to do a diagonal. Now, if you're not confident about doing a diagonal like I am just with a pair of scissors, you could quite easily go in with your ruler. Not a problem at all. Okay. Let's square that one up a bit better, Dawn. Now you're going to give these all a burnish. So this frame will make, or this size will make a frame that is 2 centimetres in width and 1 centimetre in depth. Okay, but you can make this whole frame with 2 of your card blanks. So I'll just fold this over. Okay. You've got that 0.5 centimetre on there, which can be a bit tricky at times, but just take your time. Okay, let's start burnishing that down. So this time you're going to use again your 3mm red line tape for this one. So let's open that out. So I'll just show you where you're going to put your tape, and then I will show you one of the finished ones I've already prepared. That end's got mucked up. Let's pop that on there. So you're going to put your red line tape. I'm using the 3mm again on this edge. But then you'll need your 9mm just on that little tab at the top. And you're going to then fold that over like we've done before. So this size will make a frame that looks like this one. So you've got a 2 centimetre depth, width, sorry, and a 1 centimetre depth. Now, I've made these all large, and I'm giving you the measurements to make these, okay? But always remember, you can cut the length down to any length you want. You could create a rectangular one by doing 2 longer ones and then 2 shorter ones. What we're showing you here with all these frames is, I'm going to show you all the measurements, but you can then make these any size you like in overall size. So if you wanted to make a smaller size like that one, or a smaller size like that one, you can do. So that's your first one. Let me share with you another one. So again, with this one, I'll tell you what, let's have another colour so I don't confuse you. So with this one, we're going again at 7.5 centimetres. So this is a different size again. So, okay, so we've got 7.5 centimetres. Scoreboards up. So we're going to score at 1.5 centimetres all the way down. We're going to do 3 centimetres all the way down. We're going to do 4.5 centimetres all the way down. And we're going to do 6 centimetres all the way down. So I've scored at 1.5, 3, 4.5 and 6. Now you're going to do a quarter turn clockwise. You're going to score your first score at 1 centimetre. Oh, let me just trying to hold it in place. 1 centimetre. And then your next score line is 2.5 centimetres, but you're only going to the second score line. So you've got a 1 centimetre score and then 2.5 centimetres, but only to the second score line. You're going to cut that first piece off and then do your diagonal. And then you're going to cut your little tab. So you've taken that piece out and you've taken that piece out. Let me turn that round. Okay. So you're going to put your tape on this side. So for this, I'm going to use my 12mm red line tape. So I'll just put the tape on so you can see where it's going to go. Now, because the 12mm tape isn't wide enough, what I like to do is to go up to the score line. Never go over the score line, go up to the score line. Doesn't matter about this little piece here showing. Give that a little trim. You're still going to need your 9 for your little tab, because that's 1 centimetre. Give those a little burnish down. Then you're going to burnish obviously your cardstock, but you can use frames on your cards. You can use frames for your home decor, for gift giving. There's lots of different ways that these can be used. So this is, we started off with a 7.5 centimetre by 30 centimetres. Okay, that's all going to turn round and be glued on there. I won't glue it, I'm going to share with you a finished one. And you're going to have a frame that looks like this. So this frame is going to be 1.5 centimetres in width and 1.5 centimetres in depth. So that is your second one. So now let's look at another one. Let's have some green card for this one. Now this time I'm going to cut the card to 10 centimetres. So on the short side I'm cutting this at 10 centimetres. Okay. Scoreboards up. So scoreboards up, and we're going to score this at 1 centimetre, 2 centimetres, 5.5 centimetres, and 6.5 centimetres. So we've got 1 centimetre, 2 centimetres, 5.5 centimetres, and 6.5 centimetres. You're going to do a quarter turn clockwise, and then you're going to score at 1 centimetre and 4 centimetres to the second line only. So round that way you had your 1 centimetre and 4 centimetres to the second score line only. We're going to trim in on that second score line and then do your diagonal. You're going to cut your tab. Tab's a little bit shorter this time. This is where I'm now showing you different sizes of frames that you can make. So I would go in with my 9mm for this. I'll just put the tape on so you can see where the tape goes. So your tape is going to go along there. And it's going to go along on that little tab just there as well. Give that a little burnish on there and there. Burnish your score lines. Let's just tweak them with your fingers first so you get that nice straightness, and then go in and give them a nice crisp burnish. And then the last one, okay, and obviously your tab. So you've got all your tape on there, you've got all your scores, and this is going to go around this way. So can you see already you've got a different shape coming up, and this is what your finished frame is going to look like. Okay, so this one is going to give you a 3 centimetre width and a 1.5 centimetre depth. So this is the size that you are looking at, and again these can always be cut down to the size that you want to make. So that's your first one out of your 10 centimetres. So now let me share with you another one out of 10 centimetres. I'm using a different colour card so you don't get confused. So we cut another one at 10 centimetres. Bring the scoreboard up. So this time we are scoring at 1 centimetre, 2 centimetres, 5.5 centimetres, and 6.5 centimetres. And you're going to do a quarter turn clockwise, and you're going to do a score at 1 centimetre and 4.5 centimetres to the second score line only. So you're going to go straight across that second score line, up diagonally do your tab, cut your other tab out. I'm going to go in with my 9mm red line tape in again. So again, this is using a size of card that is 10 centimeters by 15 centimeters. And then you want a tiny little piece on your tab. Oh, my tab piece came off then. I don't want that to happen yet until I'm putting it together. There we go. Give these a little burnish. So this is going to give you a different size frame this time. So we're giving you lots of options. Okay, so you've got lots of options of different size frames you can create, all with the same size card. Okay, and then obviously you would join that one to that one and tuck that round. And then this is where I'm getting trouble getting them out of the box. There we go. That size frame you're going to have by making the one I've just done. And this is going to give you a 3.5 centimetre width and a 1 centimetre depth. So that is that size frame. So let's look at another frame now using 10 centimetres. So let's use a different colour card so I don't confuse you. So we're going in with 10 centimetres. So we've got a piece that is 10 centimetres by 15 centimetres. Scoreboards up. And this time we are doing a score at 2 centimetres, 4 centimetres, 6 centimetres and 8 centimetres. You're then going to do a half turn clockwise, that is right, yes. You're going to do a 1 centimetre score all the way along the top, and you're going to do a 5 centimetre score to the second score line only. So you're going to cut to that second score line, do a diagonal up to that second piece, then do your tab, okay, so you've got that going on. We're going with the 12mm red line tape for this one. Again, I'm going to go up to the score line but not over it. Don't worry about the bit that's not got any red line tape because that will be tucked inside your frame. But I'm going to need my 9mm on the top. Okay, give those a little burnish. You'll see that colour change. And along the top there. And then we're going to fold and burnish our score lines. And don't forget your little tab to do a burnish. So that's going to give you your side of your frame, which you're going to join in that way. And then this will give you a finished frame that looks like this. So this will give you a frame that is 2 centimetres wide and 2 centimetres deep. So now let's do one that is 15 centimetres across by 30 centimetres across. So we're going to go straight in with our scoreboard. And we're going to do a score at 2 centimetres and 4.5 centimetres, 8.5 centimetres and 11 centimetres. Okay, so that was 2 centimetres, 4.5, 8.5 and 11. Do a quarter turn clockwise and then do a score at 1 centimetre and 5 centimetres to the second score line only. You're then going to cut that score line to the second score line only. Do a diagonal up to the third score line. Cut and preserve your tab. Just put in a slight mitre when I'm doing these because it's easier to poke it in. So you've got that going on. We'll do 12mm red line tape again, so go up to the score line but not over. And we'll bring the 9mm in to do the top tab. Move that out of the way. Give those a little burnish to change their colour. Burnish your scores. Okay, so that's going on. This will fold into here, and then this will give you a frame which looks like this one. So this frame will be 4 centimetres in width and 2.5 centimetres in depth. So that gives you a nice box frame. Let's look at the last one I've got on my sheet now. Again, we're going in with a piece of card that is 15 centimetres by 30 centimetres. And we're going to score this one at 1 centimetre. Hit the groove. 4.5 centimetres. 8 centimetres and 11.5 centimetres. You're doing a quarter turn clockwise and then do a 1 centimetre score line and a 4.5 centimetre score line to the second score only. So it looks like that. You're going to get your scissors and trim this end. Do your diagonal to the next score. Then cut and preserve your tab. Okay, so I'm going to go in with 9mm red line tape for this one. I'm going to go all the way to the end. And again, on our tab, give that a little burnish so the colour changes. Burnish our scores. And don't forget to burnish your little tab at the top there as well. So it's going to look like that. You're going to fold it in and glue it just there. And that's going to give you a frame that looks like this one. So this frame is going to be 3.5 centimetres in width and 3.5 centimetres in depth. So a lovely box frame there that you can use. So that is all the scores for the frames. Let me just share a couple of ideas of ways you can use them. You can use them for home decor, and because you've got that lovely 3D look, you can put lots of nice things in them. You can use them for adding pictures on as well and creating a nice scene. Another way of doing home decor. And even bring them in so you've got a bit of home decor meeting your scrapbooking and telling a story. So you can bring them in this way as well. But you can quite easily, I've put it down somewhere safe. There it is, it's slid down at the back. Use them to make your little cards as well, for 3D cards. So let's just bring in all these frames again. So we've got the nice big deep box frames, and again here, and this size, and this size. Lots of different size frames. You've got frames with tabs and frames without tabs.